Hey guys, look who I found in this magical tree paradise.
Lovely, isn't it? It's really nice. I've not seen a tree in like 3 days. This is very exciting.
But this is the only greenery you get at Gamescom because everything else is kind of just like beige food. It's really delicious, but
I've been a series of like, kind of brown cement Germanic conference rooms. It's been.
But we've let him out of the conference. In fact, they let you off the stage. Where
I wouldn't leave. I had to be pulled down. Yes, it was awesome. That was very cool of Sony to let me do that, wasn't it?
Right, I want you to tell, because you've told me when we were at the bar getting your garden lemonade.
This is, by the way, delicious.
While we were at the bar,
Sony.
You told me how you actually got to be on stage, which is just, for me, as someone who always wanted to do that, and I'm sure so many people out there can imagine themselves when they're doing it. How did you manage to get on stage without rushing onto a stage yourself?
I just ran. Like those security guards were not putting in the effort. No. What did I do? For me it was I saw because like you say, I've always been exactly the same. I always wanted to be on stage for something like that. Always, over 8 years I've been working in games. I've always wanted to do it. And I saw No Man's Sky bit in the 3 section, and I watched it. Well, I watched it and I was like, you know what? And this is probably bad PR, but I know I'm not making a game as good as No Man's Sky. However, I'm making an okay game. I could do that.
I want that.
That'd be fun. Sean looks like he's having a good time out there. I'm going to give it a go.
Sean did well, bless him.
He did amazingly well.
Actually.
He loved it, and they loved him because and the game was incredible. Yeah, that's so good. It's annoying how good that game is. It really irritates me. But I saw that and I was like, I want to go and I want to do the whole doing on stage thing. So I wrote a begging email. Basically, every Sony employee I know the email address of. I just like CC'd into an email. It's the least professional thing I've ever done. CC'd into an email going, hello, I'd like to be on stage at Gamescom.
Can I please be on your stage?
I made that pretentious rectangle game. But it's cool, and I kind of pitched them on like, so this is what I'd like to talk about, and I'd like to show a trailer of the game, and I sent them some kind of recent footage of the game because I hadn't released any video footage for a while, and the game looks a lot better than it used to.
It hadn't been much since Eurogamer, I want to say.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was, so I kind of, I sent them that, and we spent 3-4 weeks kind of putting together a cool trailer, getting the voice actors into the studio so we could record everything.
You have been tweeting about that, so I wondered what had been going down.
And we just it's all come together, and fair play. There's some very cool people at Sony who, I mean, it's a massive investment. Like, I don't know how much these events cost, but to let me be on stage for 3 minutes, it's a very cool thing. That's literally cost Sony money, so I'm very, very grateful. I think it was a lot of fun.
So one thing that Thomas Alone especially did for me, now when I was sort of playing games, I was adamant I was like AAA, I like big graphics, big production, none of this indie stuff, it's not for me, it's not for me. And I dismissed a lot of good games. And then I played Thomas Was Alone, and I was like, damn, this is really fun.
I'm so glad that anecdote went that way. It's like, I played Thomas Was Alone, it completely supported my views.
And
I was like, I'm never playing another game like this.
But it was like, I was laughing, and I felt for these squares and rectangles, and it was incredible. And for me, it made me realise that I was potentially denying myself good games because I had decided that I don't like this indie stuff. So for you, when you see people that are like, oh, it's indie, and dismissing something, how does that make you feel as a developer?
Do you know, like I kind of wish I got annoyed about it, because I think that's what you want, is you want me to explain how annoyed and upset I am by it. But no,
I just want to know how it makes you feel, because
I'm okay with, like,
it makes me sad that people are potentially missing out because they can't get past maybe a barrier they put it in. I did it.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think I mean, from my perspective, like, I know there's genres of game I don't play. Like, I'm not into racing games at all. Like, the second I see a racing game come up on a trailer or on the big screen, I switch off. I'm like, oh, nice cars, fantastic. And it's just not my genre. Yeah. And actually, when I have sometimes like played a racing game by mistake, I've really enjoyed it. And I've gone like, oh wow, I'm missing out. But I'm not, I think everyone has like a genre or genres they avoid, genres they love. And you know what? The brilliant thing about indie and the brilliant thing about the way we make games is we don't have to try and appeal to everyone. You know, I can make a game that's absolutely awesome and cool for 50,000 people, and I'm still making enough kind of money back from that I can make another game. I'd love to make Minecraft. That'd be very nice. But it's kind of, I'm kind of live and live kind of guy. Like if it's not for someone, that's absolutely cool. I would love it if they gave it a go, though. And you know, thanks to the amazing new Sony sharing experience that was talked about yesterday, maybe they can. I'd love that. I'd love that if you're someone who doesn't like indie games and just don't play them at all, I would really encourage you to just pick up a Humble Bundle sometime, or pick up a Sony bundle when those are on there, or use one of these services to have a go on a game. Don't invest too much money. Spend a little bit of money or none at all, and just have a play, because you might find something that works for you. And it's so diverse. Every indie game is different, and hopefully there's cool stuff. But on the other hand, if you don't like indie games, fair enough. That's fine. I like a lot of other kinds of games, so that's cool.
Now, you mentioned liking genres. Now, there's one genre in particular and one game that got a bit of a mention on stage when we were talking about volume. Metal Gear Solid, which everyone who probably watches Access knows that Rob is potentially the biggest. He's standing just here holding a light, bless him.
He is.
But Metal Gear Solid was a big influence for Volume. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how that kind of has bled into Volume?
I'm obsessed. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Metal Gear Solid. It was
you and Rob are going to have the best conversations later.
No, I loved it. It was a weird one for me because I'd never heard of it. I wasn't into it. I basically, as a teenager, I think I just played Halo. Basically, like, that was the only. I had an Xbox. I played Halo.
Oh, sir, you've missed a few things.
I know, right? Well, no, I've gone back since, but I was very not playing anything else, and it was one of my dad's mates lent me the PC port of the original Metal Gear Solid.
Wow.
And he gave it to me.
Rob's looking and thinking.
It wasn't. I did go back and play the PlayStation version, which is much better. But that's all right. Those bygones be bygones. Time has passed. And he just gave it to me. He said it's about spies, and if you climb up and down the ladder 3 times, there's a woman who you see in her underwear. And as a teenage boy, I was like, this sounds like a great game. So I tried it, and obviously you just fell in love and just was exposed to all this Japanese kind of cultural stuff. I had no awareness of it. Just blew my mind. I don't think I'd even seen a mech in a game before that. Like, I was just like, oh my goodness, it's this whole world out there I know nothing about. And I got hooked, and then Metal Gear Solid 2, I almost failed my maths GCSE because I'd been playing it the night before.
I mean,
it's fine. I don't use maths every day of my professional career, so it's fine. So yeah, no, specifically Metal Gear Solid 2 was just, for me, that was the high point. I know a lot of it. I think arguably Metal Gear Solid 3 was the better game, but 2 for me is the one that that's my game.
That's mine.
That's the one I love. So yeah, I think so it was on the list basically. It was that, you know, I've always said this. I've got 5 games.
All right.
And the first one was Thomas Was Alone. That was the kind of the cool story-based platform I wanted to make. And number 2 is the weird, strange stealth game I've always wanted to make with like Lego creation systems and stuff in it. Because Hideo Kojima always talks about that in the documentary about how he designed the Metal Gear Solid levels in Lego. And as a kid, that blew my mind because I had Lego. I looked at the Lego on my shelf. I was like, I have all the resources Hideo Kojima has. I could do this. I told him this yesterday, and he was very polite and nodded along as I gushed at him in full fanboy mode, and shook his hand a couple of times. But yeah, I love it. I properly fanboyed out at Hideo Kojima yesterday. Embarrassed myself.
No, you didn't. It's fine. It's always good. Now, very finally, because we're almost at the end of your garden lemonade. So
it's on its way, yeah.
So finally, with Volume, you mentioned about sort of creation and sharing on stage yesterday. You touched on that very quickly. Tell us a little bit about how Volume is going to go beyond that, maybe that single player experience.
Yeah, so it's something that I kind of ran into very quickly. It's something that I wasn't setting out initially to do it. I was going to make kind of a straightforward.
Because Thomas Was Alone is a very single player experience.
Thomas Was Alone is a single player.
You
play it 3 hours, you're done, or maybe even faster. It's quite an easy game. Like an hour and a half, 2 hours, you finish it, you're done. And that was how it was always designed. But one thing that we're increasingly seeing being important is this sharing and this kind of, you know, streaming and YouTube and all these things, which honestly, like, if you just make a short game, you kind of can miss out on because people play it, finish it, they're done, and you lose that kind of word of mouth thing. So I kind of wanted to fix that. So I was looking at the game I was making. I was like, can I make, you know, like a roguelike? Can I do like extended randomized content and stuff? And the thing you very quickly realize with stealth is it's very hard to make a good stealth level using randomization.
Yeah.
Something like Nuclear Throne, where you're running around shooting guys, that works brilliantly because the genius design is in the enemies and how that works. In a stealth game, it's so much about the physical space you're in. So I was thinking, how can I make more content? And I realised I'm lazy. I don't want to make more content.
You can make it for me.
I can get the community to help me out in an awesome synergistic way. So what will happen is the game comes out. It's going to come with a bunch of levels that I've made. You never have to download a level if you don't want to. You can just play the kind of the 3-hour game I've designed with the story, with everything. However, if you want to, you can also make levels and share levels with your friends, download them off servers, upload them, all that stuff.
Amazing.
And you can play that either once the single player game's finished. You know, the game kind of opens up in that kind of classic open world way that you can just keep playing past the end of the story, and you can just keep playing these maps over and over, different ones. Or what I'm really excited about is you can actually play the single player campaign using user-generated maps.
Really?
So the story, the way the story works is it sits on top of the game world.
So you've given people tools to actually make the whole game. Really?
So essentially, like in a few months after the game comes out, if you want to play Volume and have all the awesome story, hopefully awesome, cool voiceover, music, all that progression, play it as like a 3-hour single player story game.
Yeah.
But you want to play it only levels that other people have made and nothing I've made.
Amazing.
Hopefully, if people get into it, we're going to have enough content there that you can totally do that.
And that's across PS4 and Vita, so you can do the content creation on Vita as well. Yes. All right, you're at the end of your garden lemonade.
I'm getting there, but yes.
I could talk to you for hours. Happily, I could do this for hours.
But you're very busy. You have to talk to much more interesting and
I don't know if they'll be more interesting.
Well,
but
more successful then.
I don't know about that either, actually, when I was chatting to you at the bar. I wouldn't say that either. But there we go, guys. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's always lovely to talk to you.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to catch up again in the future as Volume moves towards its crescendo.
Yeah, scary stuff.
It's going to be real. It's going to be real.
It's going to be real.
And guys, thank you so much for watching. You can stay tuned for YouTube channel because there's just absolutely loads more stuff from PlayStation coming up.